Your beloved New York City may well be led by a communist soon, Zohran Mamdani, who in his nomination speech said he will defy ICE and will not allow ICE to arrest criminal aliens in New York City. Your message to communist Zohran Mamdani?
Well, then we'll have to arrest him. Look, we don't need a communist in this country, but if we have one, I'm going to be watching over him very carefully on behalf of the nation. We send him money. We send him all the things that he needs to run a government. And by the way, they get about 3 times what you get, Ron. If you look at the per capita, Florida gets 1/3 of what New York gets in terms of the numbers. Why don't you give us those numbers?
Yeah, well,
because that's what we should send him.
Yeah, well, like sometimes people say Florida gets more because they count Social Security recipients, but that's not money to the state. Those are seniors that live here. If they move to North Carolina, you could count it there. So it has no interaction with the state government. They get more in the city and state governments than we get.
Right, substantially. We're going to be watching that very carefully, and a lot of people are saying he's here illegally. We're going to look at everything.
Donald Trump's attacks on New York City mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdani are not only weak, but tiresome at this point.
I think he's terrible. He's a communist. The last thing we need is a communist. I said there will never be socialism in the United States. Now we have a communist. I think he's bad news, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun with him, watching him, because he has to come right to this building to get his money. And don't worry, he's not going to run away with anything. I think he's, frankly, I've heard he's a total nut job. I think the people of New York are crazy. If they go this route, I think they're crazy. We will have a communist for the first time, really, a pure, true communist. He wants to operate the grocery stores, the department stores. What about the people that are there? I think it's crazy.
He just went up another 10 points, by the way. Thank you, Trump. You just made Zohran go up another 10 points by you attacking him. By the way, Donald Trump's approval rating right now is 38%. I've said repeatedly Trump's floor is between 26 and 33%. We're almost at the floor already, homie.
And thus, Mamdani has responded.
Yesterday, Donald Trump said that I should be arrested. He said that I should be deported. He said that I should be denaturalized. And he said those things about me, someone who stands to be the first immigrant mayor of this city in generations, someone who would also be the first Muslim and the first South Asian mayor in this city's history. Less so because of who I am, because of where I come from, because of how I look or how I speak, and more so because he wants to distract from what I fight for. I fight for working people. I fight for the very people that have been priced out of this city, and I fight for the same people that he said he was fighting for. This is the same president who ran on a campaign of cheaper groceries, who ran on a campaign about easing a suffocating cost of living crisis. And ultimately, it is easier for him to fan the flames of division than to acknowledge the ways in which he has betrayed those working class Americans, not just in this city, but across this country, and the ways in which he continues to betray them. Because we know that he would rather speak about me than speak about the legislation that he is shepherding through Washington, D.C. Legislation that will quite literally take health care away from Americans. Legislation that will steal food from the hungry. Legislation that looks to build upon one of the largest transfers of wealth we've seen in recent history in his first administration and do it once again for the very Americans who already have enough. We should be fighting for those that do not have what they need to live a dignified life. That is what I will do, and I am thankful to have the protection and to have the support of so many New Yorkers who have stood up and said how unacceptable this is, including our governor, including members of the labor movement. And ultimately, what I fear for is that if this is what Donald Trump and his administration feel comfortable about saying about the Democratic nominee for the mayor of New York City, imagine what they feel comfortable saying and doing about immigrants whose names they don't even know.
He's brilliant, he's eloquent, and he is the figurehead of opposition that is badly needed to combat Trumpism at this very moment in time. In sports,
we're on the road when Zohran wins the primary.
That's that's my boy.
And you were very vocal in the weeks and the days leading up to that. Mm-hmm. Now, with how quick the news cycle goes, you've got Trump out there talking about...
I told him to around and find out. If Donnie want to come down here, that's fine. If ICE wants to try to come down here, that's fine. But you going learned the hard way. I've been here 2 months, and New Yorkers really don't f- around. They don't play about one another. They don't play about this city, and I just think that it's reckless of our president. I think that it's reckless of this administration, but also it's actually exciting for us as the people, because that's when you know we're getting to them. That's when you know we're creating change that they don't want. That's when you know that we're dismantling the system. And so for all of us in New York, I'm just going to ask that we continue to be on the right path to history, that we protect one another, that we protect Mamdani and what he wants to do, because ultimately he wants to protect us down the line. There is no shying away from. He is a Muslim, he is a socialist, and he is a Democrat. So he's going to get the worst PR of all PRs. They're going to tell you that to be scared of him. They're going to tell you all this like Islamophobia. They're going to tell you that a socialist is a scary thing for our country moving forward. Socialism is that everyone has equity. Everyone has the same. Everyone can live the same dignified life of one another, and he's going to do it through taxing the rich instead of taxing the poor to give more to the rich. So I just want people to like do this with their eyes a little bit, you feel me? Like, don't be blinded, don't be in tunnel vision, but especially for here in New York, we need to make sure we protect ours.
The New York Liberty's Natasha Cloud spoke on Mamdani. Plus, after his win, Cloud said this.
Ask also about Zohran Mamdani.
Mamdani, my boy.
Big win, right?
It's a big win for the people. It's a huge win for the city of New York. And for me as an athlete, no matter what market that I go into or what organization I play for, it's really important to care about the community that I play for as well. And so understanding what a pivotal moment this was for the city, what a pivotal moment it is for the working class people, and just overall, I think a lot of things can be said about Mamdani. He gets the worst PR because he's a Muslim, he's a socialist, and he's a Democrat. But he believes that it is the government's right to take care and make sure that all of its constituents live a dignified life, regardless of who you are, what your religious affiliation or background is. And I think that's beautiful. The ability to freeze 2 million tenants' rent in a time that we're headed for a recession within the next quarter, I think is really important for the people of New York, with a tax that was raised for rent by Cuomo a few years ago. It's just all around. He wants better buses so you can get to and from work quicker. He wants to fund more into our public schooling, making sure kids eat lunch for free as they should. That's a necessity of families that I think it is the government's responsibility to carry, while also allowing police to do their jobs, which is focused on actual crimes and homicides and things that are happening in the city, but also delegating and opening jobs to mental health professionals and social workers to handle anything that isn't deemed within a homicide or a violent act. And I think that just creates peace, that creates love, it creates understanding. It separates that friction between community and police too, by allowing them to just do their normal jobs. So I think overall it's just like it's the right choice, but why it's so powering for me is it restored my hope in humanity a little bit. That, even with the confines of what's happening right now in our government and in our country, that the people will speak, the people will show up, and there's a lot of humanity left in this world for us to care about one another.
I'm going to keep it real. All right. I reached out to Natasha Cloud, would love to have her on. What I have seen from her over and over and over again, from her activism, the way that she has gone about her business, standing on business when it comes to politics, being very comfortable talking about politics, going to so many different protests, speaking up for civil rights, human rights, Palestinian rights. Like, she is the full package. She is awesome. Calling out Sophie Cunningham for, it seems in that Instagram video, being a Trump supporter. Also, like, huge, knowledge-based, should know it. What I will say in turn is I truly believe that Natasha Cloud is the person that Caitlin Clark fans think their goddess is. I will say that again. Natasha Cloud is the person Caitlin Clark stans think their goddess is. Because she is not. There's a way to go about this. If we had more athletes like Natasha Cloud, and because studying this stuff, interviewing people who have studied this stuff and covered this stuff, a rising tide lifts all ships. It doesn't come down to one. It doesn't come down to two. It's important for that to be the first domino, but it is why we call it a movement, a community, a collective of like-minded individuals who want to progress society. And for those people who are saying, no, the athletes don't make a change, the President of the United States is using sports to divide. So I just wish that there were more Natasha Clouds. But unfortunately, there aren't. For whatever reason, whether they're afraid it's going to screw up the money, it's going to affect a brand deal, they're afraid that they're going to upset the wrong person. I think what we have shown here is that liberation doesn't care about your next contract with Champ Sports or Xbox. What it matters the most is that we are better off as a society. And I think that message has been lost. You should go subscribe to my new show, The Rick Strom Show. I'm going to be interviewing people from sports, music, journalists, authors, sports doctors. It's going to be fantastic. Please go subscribe. Thank you.